My name is Nicole Jobson, and I am the Director of College Counseling at International College Counselors. I welcome you all tonight to join us in this webinar with admission representatives from the Big Ten. We have an hour here where we're going to discuss each of the individual schools. Mary Wintercorn from Indiana University will talk about Indiana. We have Olander Fleming here who will discuss what is necessary for admissions at the University of Maryland. Richard Aufderheide is here from Michigan State University, and Antonio Serrano will talk a little bit about Ohio State. I welcome you all to put questions in the chat box. We will get to as many questions as we can. And again, thank you for being here tonight. Again, I'm Nicole Jobson. These are multiple ways in which you can get in contact with me. In addition, if after the webinar you have additional questions for me or our honored guest, you can certainly feel free to reach out to us. And just a little bit about International College Counselors. For those of you who are not familiar with us, we provide guidance to students in a comprehensive fashion. I work with students across the world and help them understand a right fit for college, help them to narrow their college list, and am available as a resource, a comprehensive resource in the planning, the guidance, extracurricular involvement, and engagement. But I don't want to talk too much about me because I would like to let you all learn a little bit more about the Big Ten. Okay. All right. And first up is Mary Wintercorn. She is the Senior Assistant Director of Admissions for Florida, and she will tell us a little bit about Indiana. But Mary, I did have a question for you. I wanted to find out a little bit about the holistic admissions process at Indiana, and if you could share with me what that process looks like for Indiana as a university, as well as the Kelley School of Business.
Hi, Nicole. I also have with me Jill Shimmick. She is our representative in DC. I'm one of the newer admission reps for Indiana. I've only been on board a few months, so I asked Jill to join us just to help field some of these types of questions. We do take a holistic approach when we review applications. We recently went test optional. So looking at things in terms of obviously GPA, rigor of courses, extracurricular things that they've done. Jill, what else would you like to add to that?
Sure. So admission to Indiana University isn't based on major. When a student applies to IU, they're applying to Indiana and not to a specific school or college, although we do ask for intended major on the application for admission. After a student's been academically admitted to Indiana University, at that point, they can be considered for direct admit programs, with the Kelley School of Business being our most popular direct admit program. Historically, that direct admission has been based solely on high school GPA and SAT or ACT scores. For our fall 2020 applicants, students needed to have a minimum high school GPA of 3.7 and either a 1370 on the SAT or a 30 on the ACT. If a student was admitted to IU and they met those criteria, they were automatically directly admitted into the Kelley School of Business for this fall. Now, most students at IU are not offered direct admission to a specific school or college. They're going to come to us through University Division and apply to a specific school or college at the end of the freshman year.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's very helpful. And I didn't know if you wanted to share a little bit more about Indiana in particular, specifically.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. All right. Well, thank you everyone for taking the time to listen to our information about IU this evening. Indiana University Bloomington is the flagship state public institution in the state of Indiana. We have over 33,000 undergraduates on our Bloomington campus from all 50 states and over 140 countries. So we are a geographically diverse campus. We offer 12 different schools and colleges on our campus. So some of the new programs on our campus include a data science major in our Luddy School of Informatics, Computing, and Engineering. We also have some really great majors to look into that we're seeing more interest, especially during COVID-19. So things like healthcare management and policy in our O'Neill School of Public and Environmental Affairs. And then we do have one of 50 accredited schools of public health. And so it's another great place to look at majors if you're interested in things like the sciences. The Kelley School of Business is our second largest school on our campus. It has about 8,000 students in it. So it is a popular destination for a lot of students, especially for our students coming to us from out of state. We offer over 200 majors, and we do allow students to combine majors. That we see most of our students that complete at least a double major, if not a single major with several minors. Our students can have up to 3 minors, and they don't have to be paired with a specific major. So there's a lot of flexibility for our students there. We do have a 16-to-1 student to faculty ratio. Our average class size is 30 students. Only 6% of our classes have more than 100 students in them. All of our faculty are required to hold office hours on a weekly basis. In addition to that, our faculty are available via phone and email. And we do also see several of our faculty members sponsoring floors in residence halls so that you can have opportunities to get to know your faculty beginning your freshman year on campus. IU is also a place where you can find your community and really explore the things that you're interested in. We have over 750 student organizations ranging from student government to Greek life to community service to arts and performance organizations. So there really are all kinds of things that you can do while you're a student at IU. We have over 55 club and intramural sports at our campus. Sports Illustrated has ranked IU as having one of the top rec sports programs in the country. So there are going to be lots of ways for you to find activity and maintain the activity level that you've had while you've been in high school. And then we also love to highlight the world-class arts and culture opportunities available on our campus. We are home to 6 different cultural centers, as well as the Jacobs School of Music, which is one of the top 3 music schools in the country. There are over 1,100 performances put on our campus every year by our students and faculty. In addition to our Jacobs School of Music, IU is also home to the Eskenazi Museum of Art, our Lilly Library, our IU Auditorium, which brings in all kinds of touring productions. So there are just a wealth of opportunities for you to explore arts and culture on our campus and in our community of Bloomington. We're also a university that's like our Big Ten peers, that's rich in tradition. The 2019-2020 school year was our 200th anniversary. While it didn't end quite the way we were expecting or hoping it would, we were still able to celebrate our bicentennial graduates, and they've been able to take part in traditions that are, some are a little bit newer and some are a lot older on our campus. One of the great traditions at IU is the IU Dance Dance Marathon, which raises money for the Riley Hospital for Children in Indianapolis. It's the second largest student-run philanthropic organization in the United States. And in IU Dance Marathon's 30-year history, our students have raised over $40 million for the Riley Hospital for Children. Another great tradition on our campus happens every summer, technically it's in August, and it's the week before classes start. Throughout that week before classes start, we host all kinds of opportunities for students to get to know our campus. And one of those traditions is Culture Fest. There's all kinds of free food. There are different cultural performances that happen, and just ways for students to be introduced to our cultural centers and find out how they can learn more and be involved in these cultural events on our campus. And then, of course, Big Ten athletics is another huge tradition on our campus. We have 24 varsity sports on our campus. The only 2 students pay to go see are football and men's basketball. Everything else is free. We do have the largest student section in the country for men's basketball, and about half of our student body typically will have season tickets to our the Hoosier men's basketball season. So that's definitely a highlight of student life at Indiana. Of course, all of this takes place on our beautiful campus featuring Indiana limestone. So it is a really unique look to our campus. It's very much a park-like setting. It's super walkable, also very bikeable if that's your student's speed. And just a fantastic place to spend 4 years. And we're in the heart of Bloomington, Indiana. So downtown Bloomington is actually right across the street from our campus. So students will have easy access to restaurants, shopping, art galleries, all kinds of things like that. Students don't need a car to have access to Bloomington, Indiana. We do see about a third of our students study abroad before they graduate. We have over 250 IU-sponsored study abroad programs. They're located in more than 60 countries and offered in 18 languages, including English. And we have 12 different career centers on our campus. They are specialized based on school or college that a student is studying in. And so our students are all getting really great career-specific advice, usually beginning of their sophomore year, but we do have a career development center that it's more general and typically works with our freshmen to help them explore the options that IU can offer them. And then just some general information about our application. There are 3 ways that students can apply to IU. We're part of the Common Application and the Coalition Application. We also have our own app called Apply IU. We don't have a preference for which application students submit. Whatever is going to be the most convenient is the one that we want you to use. And then in addition to the application, we will need some supporting documents. So the online application, including the application fee and IU-specific essay, your official high school transcript, and if you would like them included, your SAT or ACT scores. You can self-report SAT and ACT scores. You can also choose to apply test optional. The test optional policy is a new policy for Indiana University. We announced it in January of 2020 for fall 2021 applicants and beyond. And if you would like guidance on whether or not applying test optional is the right fit for you, you can feel free to reach out to the counselor who covers the admissions rep who covers your area. So if you're in Florida, that would be Mary. If you're in the Mid-Atlantic, that would be me. And we'd love to have that conversation with you. November 1st is our early action non-binding deadline. It's also the deadline for most scholarship consideration at IU. And for consideration, if you want that automatic consideration for the Kelley School of Business, you should apply by November 1st as well. And if you'd like more information about our test optional policy, if you go to our website and search test optional, or use this go.iu link at the bottom of this screen, you can find out more about our test optional policy and some of the changes that we anticipate making as we review files for our fall 2021 applicants. We are going to consider, as we talk about holistic admissions, we're going to consider what classes you've taken, the strength of the curriculum that you've been in. We will look at your weighted or unweighted GPA, as well as just those grades in all of your classes. Those grades, that's really even more important than the GPAs. How did you actually do in those classes? If you choose to submit them, we're going to look at SAT or ACT scores, and then we're going to review your essay as well. While we don't require letters of recommendation, we will read up to 2 of them if you would like to send us letters of recommendation. And then this is just the profile, the middle 50% of students who were admitted for fall 2019 and where they fell with their GPA and their test scores. If a student falls within these ranges, they're likely going to be a strong candidate for admission to IU. And then just some more of our dates. Again, November 1st is our early action deadline. February 1st is our regular decision deadline. And if you do have additional questions, feel free to reach out to Mary, who's the contact down in Florida. And her contact information is right here. We are also offering virtual information sessions and virtual visits, our virtual tours. So check out our website for some of those options if you'd like to learn more about IU.
Well, thank you very, very much. I know that there were a couple of questions, particularly about how will COVID affect test optional policies, and particularly with respect to Kelly. Are grades to be weighed more heavily?
So Kelly, we were anticipating a test optional policy before COVID-19 impacted us all. We do anticipate to see more students applying test optional. If a student is using that test optional route, while we don't know for sure what's going to be happening, we do anticipate students will be using a petition process for admission into Kelly, to be considered for admission into Kelly. So those grades are going to be more important if a student's choosing not to submit scores.
Thank you very much. And I just want all the participants to know that all of our presenters will be available after each college has an opportunity to present if you have specific questions for the particular representative. So thank you so very much. And I am going to now share my screen. Sorry about that, folks. And next up, Olander Fleming, who currently is wrapping up his 4th year at University of Maryland, his 10th year overall in admissions. He happens to be the Southeast Regional Coordinator for the University of Maryland at College Park. He oversees recruitment activities in Florida and in the state of Georgia. Prior to working at Maryland, he was the Assistant Director of Emerging Populations at Longwood University, where he recruited in Northern Virginia, Latin America, and out-of-state markets in the Northeast. I am so happy to have you here. Again, as a Maryland alum, I have a particular affinity for the school, and wanted to ask you first, wanted to welcome you for being here and thank you all for being here, but wanted to ask a little bit about the Big Ten. I know a lot about Maryland, but if you could talk to me a little bit about the Big Ten Alliance, that would be helpful.
Sure. So welcome, everybody. Excited that everybody's been able to connect with us. As far as the Big Ten, most people are familiar, of course, with the athletics, competition on the field, on the court. But there's also another aspect of the Big Ten, which is the Big Ten Academic Alliance. And so there's 15 different member schools that are part of it. All of us that are on here are part of it. And there's just some benefits of it. It's more of thinking of why Big Ten. With that, it's like I mentioned, the counterpart to how competitive we are on the athletics field, whereas the Academic Alliance is more collaboration between everybody. So with that, there's actually a library system 110 million different book volumes that are available for every student, faculty member, staff member to use. So say if Maryland doesn't have something, but Michigan State has it, or Ohio State, or Indiana, we can request it and have it sent across campuses for some of the research that you might be conducting. You can also take advantage of study abroad opportunities with other schools. So say if one school has an option that you really enjoyed, and you can take advantage of it while still being a TERP, if you want to use that as an example. Graduate students, so if you continue on with your graduate studies, with one of the Big Ten schools, you do have the opportunity to spend up to a year taking specialized courses and working in specialized labs that one of us may have. And I think the most unique thing that I found was pretty impressive. There's actually $10.8 billion of funded research that the Big Ten conducts each year. To put that in perspective, it's actually more than the University of California system and the Ivy League combined conduct in a year. So it's pretty unique things that take place, and great advantage to considering one of us Big Ten schools as your future home for 4 years.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's I think it's helpful because I know that a lot of our, as you said, a lot of students are aware of the athletic relationship between the school, but much of us, or many of our students, are interested in research. And I would imagine that includes, what are the disciplines that research includes outside of, science? We may all be familiar with science research, but are there other disciplines in which that alliance conducts shared research?
Sure, it's spread across all of the different programs. So some other ones could be within psychology, criminology, criminal justice, and some of your humanities might offer the opportunities as well. It really just depends business. It's just like you mentioned, most known information, especially nowadays with everything going on with COVID-19, everybody talks about the science part of it, the biological sciences, chemistry, physics. But there really is a wide range of areas, engineering, that students can take advantage of with the research.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And then I guess if you wanted to share for those who are not as familiar as I am about how great the University of Maryland is, that would be much appreciated.
Sure, and I will also share my screen with everyone. So most are familiar with, excuse me, the University of Maryland, or should have or have heard of it, whether it be on TV, through NPR, through research, you name it. So I'll talk a little bit about just the background for those who might not be as familiar with Maryland, and then really go into some of the more important information that students want to know is, how do I become a TERP, or how can I be competitive for admission? The first thing that I want to share is just some quick facts, some information about the University of Maryland, what we have to offer as far as numbers. You can check those out. You can look them up online as well if you're really a number-driven person. One thing I do want to point out, so as was mentioned earlier with Indiana, and you'll hear with the other schools as well, there are virtual opportunities to visit campus. And so with that, hopefully pretty soon we will be able to open up and welcome visitors to campus in person. When we do, if you look at that Maryland by the numbers rectangle, you will notice Testudo the turtle in a statue form there. And I'll share a fun tradition. It's actually a tradition to stop by one of those statues and rub Testudo's nose for good luck. So when you are able to come visit us in person, be sure to do so. It'll give you some good luck in the admissions process. And Testudo will appreciate you participating in that tradition. The middle one, you probably noticed Kermit the Frog waving his hand. That represents some of our alumni across the world. Actually, even just in Southern Florida, there's a couple thousand alumni, few that are on this webinar as well. Great networking opportunity for you to take advantage of when you're back down in Florida, for opportunities if you want to conduct internships or even research, job shadowing opportunities. As far as the location, we're located just outside of College Park, or just outside of DC in College Park. So Metro ride is about 20 minutes to downtown DC, very convenient to fly up to from Southern Florida. The most convenient airport I fly into is Reagan. It's great because you can just fly up, grab your bags, hop on the metro line, and take it up to College Park. And we're about a mile away from that metro line. So that just shows you a little bit of the location. And speaking of the location, DC is really the one thing that helps us stand out as far as some opportunities that you're able to take advantage of. No matter what major you're looking at taking advantage of and studying, you will have an opportunity in DC. I like to tell students, if you think about it, consider the most powerful city in the world. When you turn on the news every day, what's the one city that always pops up? Washington, D.C. And so students take advantage of opportunities with internships, research that's conducted in the area. There's also just your social aspects. So with your athletic teams there, or if you want to go downtown to the Smithsonian, walk around the National Mall, you have plenty of things to take advantage of. And then you can even see this time of year, actually a little bit earlier, about a month and a half ago, the Japanese cherry blossoms. And so that's actually a picture of it right in the corner. There's some throughout campus as well. But that really is a benefit, because if you're looking at especially those majors that are politically themed, that might have that research with the NIH, you're going to want to be in the DC area at some point, no matter what institution you go to. When you're at Maryland, you have that opportunity to take advantage of those same internship opportunities that are offered over the summer, and do so throughout the fall and spring semester to help build up that knowledge base and also network with individuals, so that when the summertime does come, your name's towards the top of that resume pile, that when they're looking through and interviewing candidates for those positions, you will be confident that you'll be pretty competitive for them. I talked a little bit about the majors. These are actually all of our colleges that our majors are divided into. And so you'll see them from our oldest one, the College of Agricultural and Natural Resources, to our largest one that freshmen are in, which is our Letters and Sciences. And so with that program, that is actually our undecided college that you would be able to take advantage of. Within the different colleges and majors, we do have what we call limited enrollment programs, or LEP for short. And so some of those are going to be your more traditional ones, like your business, engineering, biological sciences. Others are going to be just popular due to our location, our strength in those areas. Say, for example, government and politics, your journalism. You also have computer science, which actually it's recently converted to a limited enrollment program and is now our most competitive limited enrollment program. So those are some of the LEPs that we have. And I'll talk a little bit about that program, and as far as how you apply to it and how you're considered to a limited enrollment program, I want to talk a little bit more about the numbers. Our newest major that is scheduled to begin with courses this fall is our neuroscience major. So we've had it as a minor for years, and it was voted on a couple years ago to become a major fall of 2020, which is this fall that is coming up. I love this picture right here. It gives you really good snapshot of campus, because it actually looks fake if you look at it at a quick glance, but this is our actual picture of campus. Not all of it, of course. It's 1,200 acres, but some of the words, if you can read them, if your screen isn't too small, there are different traditions, different things students would typically do throughout the year. Some of them could be, as you see, the Eat Ice Cream at the Dairy, which is in our Stamp Student Union, which when you do visit us, that's where you can go grab some of your Maryland swag in the bookstore, eat in the food court. That's where really the hub, the center of student life is located at. You will also have opportunities in over 800 different clubs and organizations that you can choose from. There really is a little bit of everything, whether they are cultural groups, ethnic groups, performance groups. Some are, say for example, if you like gaming, you have your gaming clubs, you name it, Maryland has it. And as we mentioned earlier, part of the Big Ten Conference. And so, excuse me for a second. So with the Big Ten, you have 19 different varsity sports that you can watch and participate in if you want to get involved with the intramural side, and even down to even the club aspect of athletics. There are also 52 different fraternities and sororities that you can choose from too, if you decide you want to pledge for one of those. Those are some of the activities. The other one I always highlight, because I took advantage of it, it's not listed here, but our study abroad opportunities. You have about 22% of our student body go abroad each year. And you can go anywhere the State Department says is safe for a U.S. citizen to study abroad at. And with those programs, they last anywhere from a week or two. Those are more your community service-based ones to a semester or a full academic year. I mentioned earlier the freshman profile. This is the most important thing that I wanted to go over, just because there's a lot of question with COVID-19. When you hear of other school systems or state systems that are changing their processes, you probably wonder, well, what is Maryland doing? First, I'll go over the freshman profile for this past year. We're still crunching the numbers for this year, those that committed by May 1st. But last year we had 33,000 applications. We're looking for a class of 4,300. We're right on target for this year. That's more likely be the number next year, although we'll see if there are any changes to that. As far as grades, we're looking for an A/B average. So you won't necessarily see a GPA listed anywhere for us. We're looking more at your letter grades. So we're going to conduct a holistic review, 26 different factors that we're utilizing. None of those factors say GPA. And we do so because we're going to recalculate your grades. What we want to see is an A/B average, mixture of honors and above. And with that, so you have honors, AP, IB, dual enrollment, ACE courses. Those are all considered rigorous courses for us. And even if you are at a school, a religious school, say some of the Jewish schools in South Florida, we're going to look at even your religious studies and recalculate that, which for most students, it actually benefits you in the process. And so we're going to recalculate freshman, sophomore, junior year with our recalculated grades. And then we're also going to look at your test scores. That's probably the one area you're wondering about. We are currently business as usual with the test scores and what we're requiring for students. Our expectations are that there still will be a test that students will be able to take in the fall. At least we hope so. Now, of course, if things change, we will have to sit down and also change our policies. But for the time being, we're still going to look for a test. You will see the mid-ranges there. 50% fell between those. They're super scored. Will those numbers remain the same if there's only one test that is submitted? That's the big question. So I wouldn't necessarily focus as much on the test. We still require them, but I wouldn't stress out as much on the test scores. If you have that AB average, if you're close to those test scores, you can still feel pretty confident. Don't necessarily stress about it too much at this point. The coalition is our application. That's the only way you'll be able to apply to us. With some of those 26 factors that are outside your grades and your test scores, we're going to look at, of course, your essay. We're going to look at any special talents you have, your letters of recommendation. We have 2 that will be required, 1 counselor and 1 teacher recommendation, any activities you're involved in. And one thing I want to touch on with the activities, some of you may have had opportunities that you had lined up over the summer or activities that you were looking forward to taking advantage of and putting down on the application that are now all of a sudden canceled. It's okay. We understand that. I'm one of the counselors that reviews. We all are understanding of the process and know that you don't have the opportunity to take advantage of it. What we want you to do is really highlight what you have been able to take advantage of. If there is something that you were able to do over the summer or during this time when you're not in school physically, go ahead and take advantage of it. We're not asking you to become, to file a patent for the newest vaccine for COVID-19 or become fluent after going through Rosetta Stone courses in a language. What we want you to do is really just self-reflect and discover who you are. If anything, this process can be beneficial to you because it allows you to sit down and really think about what you want in a school, and also allows you and your family to sit down, where sometimes I think just with the competitive nature of things, especially in high school, the pressures coming from you at every different direction, you always have those peers you're looking at. What are they doing? Well, now you have the opportunity to really just focus on you. And we hope you do so. And if that turns into you being able to focus on that reflection through an essay, great, do it. Some of the other factors we'll look at, of course, any special languages you speak at home, family educational background, whether you're first generational, if you are children of alumni. Those are some of the factors we'll look at. And again, you can find that on our website. As far as our deadline, November 1st is the early action deadline. That is the best deadline that you should apply for. Automatic consideration for all of our programs, merit-based scholarships, your best consideration for LEP programs, so limited enrollment programs. When you apply to one of those, you'll put it on your application. We review major blind, and then we will make our decision based on if you'll go directly into that program or not, and let you know all in the decision release if you're admitted to one of those specialized programs. So that is our process. This is my contact information. The first number you see right there is our general admissions number. So if you just wanted to call that, you can do so. The second number is my actual cell phone number. Feel free to utilize it. We are not a school that is going to track your demonstrated interest, so you don't feel the need to call me every day or text me, but feel free to reach out when you do have questions.
Thank you very much. I did have a question from one of the participants about the math prereqs. So what are the specific math prereqs, and does that vary based on if you're applying for engineering versus if you're applying for creative writing, for example?
Great. So the math, we're looking for the completion at least through Algebra 2. We prefer 4 years of math. And just our research shows you're going to have to take a math course on our campus. Those that maintain math all 4 years perform better in that course. So that's what we're looking for. And as far as the specific majors, yes, your engineering, your biological sciences, your computer science, they're going to look for some of those more accelerated courses that you can take advantage of within math and for you to continue through some of the higher levels that's offered at your school. So we're not going to compare you to what's offered at other schools.
Okay, awesome. And just confirming that as of right now, test optional policies are exactly the same as they were, but you guys are open to if new information comes, it might change, but as of right now, the test optional or non-test optional policy is in place.
Correct. So we require an SAT or an ACT. And I say currently, I'm not saying that we're planning on going test optional. I'm just saying with the current situation of everything, it's going to be pretty tough to require test scores if no tests are offered.
Okay. Thank you so much. And now we are going to go to our next presenter. Let's see, get my, and okay, oops. Sorry, I am. Okay, so thank you guys for your patience. Next up is Richard Aufderheide, who is a Michigan State University admissions counselor who is based in St. Petersburg, Florida. He serves both the high school and transfer students from the state of Florida as they navigate the application process. He is a double alumnus of Michigan State with a BA in social sciences, secondary education, and a master's of arts in student affairs administration. He's worked in several functional areas of higher education, including admissions, orientation, student activities, and resident life. This is Richard's 7th year as an admission counselor for Michigan State University. And when he's not working with students, Richard enjoys traveling with his wife, playing hockey, attending sporting events, and checking out new local restaurants. And so I guess for one, you're going to be the first one out when they release us. So anyway, thank you so much. I'm so happy to have you here. Richard, I did just have a question about what leads most students to Michigan State. Is there a particular profile that you found over your many years of working at Michigan State? Somebody who is a great fit.
That's a really good question. Obviously MSU is a very big school, as all of the Big Ten schools are. And we are a global university. So I wouldn't say there's one type of student that comes to Michigan State. We have students like our peers from over 140 different countries around the world. We have students from all 83 counties in Michigan and from all 50 states in the United States. Students that typically do well at Michigan State are students who are motivated and are self-motivated, the types of students who want to be involved in tons of different clubs and have the opportunity to double or triple major, not to be kind of pigeonholed into one track. When you're at a Big Ten university, you have a lot of options, and students that are looking to have the option to try new things that they maybe have never even heard of before are the types of students that are going to thrive at a Big Ten school. You know, in terms of Michigan State specifically, yes, certainly we have some programs that are ranked as high as #1 in the world. I'm a graduate of our College of Education, which has been ranked #1, not only in the United States, but in the entire world for 25 years in a row. So for both secondary and elementary education and many of our higher education programs. So, you know, certain things like that, which I'll talk about in my presentation as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right, and I'm going to share my screen as well. All right, so as Nicole said, my name is Richard Aufderheide. I'm an admissions counselor for MSU, and I'm based here in St. Pete, so just a few hours away from many of you guys. I travel to a lot of your high schools, and we'll see you certainly in the fall or at college fairs as well. For those of you that aren't familiar, Michigan State is located in East Lansing, Michigan. We're just a couple of miles down the road from the capital of Michigan, Lansing. We are one of the 10 largest universities in the entire United States in terms of student population, so just under 50,000 total students and just under 40,000 undergraduate students. Our incoming freshman class last year was 8,500 students, and we're looking to hit that same number again for fall 20. And that's typically our sweet spot. We want to stay right at that 50,000 mark. We're not trying to grow any larger than that. As I mentioned, we have a very diverse student population. In fact, our freshman class for the fall of 2019 was the most diverse racially and ethnically of any of the Big Ten institutions. So we are very proud of that. East Lansing is a very traditional college town. Even though we are located just a couple of miles from the capital, when you're in East Lansing on campus at MSU, you know you're at MSU. East Lansing very much exists because Michigan State is there. So the community is filled with professors, staff, and students. When you're on campus, you only see these colors, green and white. You're surrounded by your peers, students, staff, and faculty members on campus. Like our peers, we have a lot of different things to offer. Michigan State originally started in 1855 as the Pioneer Land Grant Institution. So before Abraham Lincoln even signed the Morrill Land Grant Act in 1862, Michigan State was the example model of what a land grant institution is. So and we still hold true to that. We're supposed to be accessible to students, and we were the very first school to teach agriculture as a science. Obviously, we've grown much from that, and we have over 200 different majors that you can choose from, and they are divided into 17 different degree granting colleges. 14 of those degree granting colleges offer undergraduate degrees, but all of our colleges also offer master's and many offer PhD. We do have 3 professional medical schools on campus, and we are the only university in the country that have them. We have a College of Human Medicine, a College of Osteopathic Medicine, as well as one of 28 veterinary medicine programs in the United States that is ranked #3 in the US and #10 in the entire world. We also have 3 really strong residential colleges that offer degrees. If you're interested in public policy, international relations, you can go through James Madison College at MSU, which is a living learning degree granting college. We also have a natural science pre-med college for living learning communities called Lyman Briggs. And then we have a residential college for the arts and humanities for students who are interested in a much smaller feel, want to have more of like that liberal arts college. We have that college at Michigan State within a large public research institution called the Residential College for Arts and Humanities. At MSU, we really want you to kind of build your own adventure. This is the thing that gets me most excited as an alumni. Yes, I've been to national championships. I watched MSU win a hockey national championship as a student in 2007. In fact, MSU is the only school in the country that has national championships in all 3 of the big 3 sports, football, basketball, and hockey. I've been to many of those. I had season tickets all 4 years as a student. But the thing that gets me most excited is when I think about Michigan State as a research institution. And that's what's really exciting about the Big Ten in general is our campuses have much larger reaches around the world than just East Lansing as a community. Our students are coming from all over, we're sending students all over, and our research is making the world a better place. And what gets me most excited and gives me the goosebumps when I'm sitting here is not thinking about winning those national championships. It's thinking about that I can say without a shadow of a doubt that every person on this webinar tonight, wherever you're at, whether you come to Michigan State, whether you even think about Michigan State again after today, your lives have been enriched and are better now and will continue to be because of the research that Michigan State is doing every day. Simple things we take for granted. Michigan State's responsible for the leading cancer fighting drug, cisplatin. We're at the forefront of autonomous vehicle research. We are all over the COVID-19 stuff with our current president as a doctor who specializes in the spread of infectious diseases. So Michigan State was the very first university in the state of Michigan to join the task and join the frontline hospital workers with our current graduating students. So we're making a difference there. So that's what gets me most excited. Also, MSU, like our peers, has a lot of opportunities to take your education beyond the friendly confines of East Lansing. We have over 275 programs on all 7 continents. We even have students, believe it or not, that go and study in Antarctica. So if it's not cold enough for you in East Lansing in Michigan, you're welcome to get on a research vessel and go study in Antarctica. If we've got a program in Antarctica, I'm pretty sure we have a program wherever you're interested in studying, and all 200 of our majors have study away opportunities associated with those majors, starting as early as that summer before you even join us here in East Lansing. At MSU, you can be highly involved outside of the classroom as well. Not only do we expect our students to be involved in the classroom, but we have over 900 clubs and organizations registered at MSU. Whatever you can imagine, I guarantee we have it. Whatever you have that you're involved in your high school right now, we have that at Michigan State, and things you've probably never even heard of. We even have an underwater hockey team. I'm not even joking, that's a real thing. So if you're interested in athletics, we've got obviously Division I sports, club sports, and then recreational sports. We have one of the nation's largest intramural sports activities, and we do have 3 intramural sports buildings on campus with volleyball, racquetball, basketball, any kind of court that you're interested in playing on all over campus. Know that when you end up at Michigan State, we have your back. We're one of the nation's leaders in freshman retention rate. 92% of our freshmen retain to their sophomore year and beyond. That doesn't mean that 8% fail out. That just means that maybe some of them weren't quite ready for college and they come back to us later, or they transfer to another university. And I'm most proud of this number. The 93% is actually 95% now. 95% of our graduating seniors are gainfully employed within their field of interest or have moved on to graduate school within 6 months of graduation. That's not working at Starbucks, and not that there's anything wrong with that. These are students that are getting jobs in their career field and their choice. At MSU, you have over 500,000 living alumni around the world. So wherever your career or job takes you after you graduate, I guarantee you there will be alumni there. Just here in the state of Florida, there are over 25,000 living alumni. So wherever you go, you're gonna see Spartans. And if you got this logo on your, over here, this logo on your shirt, you're gonna get a Go Green, and hopefully you know how to respond with Go White. We have a lot of opportunities for you to engage with career services when you're at MSU as well. Obviously right now with COVID-19 making everything hard to meet in person, MSU's Career Services Network has been all over it. In fact, we've already for years been hosting virtual career fairs where hundreds and hundreds of employers are targeting and coming after our students. MSU is known for having highly ranked programs. We have the #1 nuclear physics program in the country, the #1 supply chain management program. I know a lot of you heard about the Kelley School of Business earlier, but MSU has a top 12 public ranked business school in the country as well. The Eli Broad College of Business has the #1 supply chain management program and the #1 hospitality business program in the country. So those are great opportunities. And a lot of our alumni come back and recruit specifically those students to join their companies. Our admissions process is very similar to a lot of the other Big Ten schools. We do a holistic review. We accept the common application, the coalition application, as well as we do have our own online MSU application. There's no benefit to doing one versus the other. Your application is complete once we receive that online app, your app fee or your fee waiver, your transcripts, and then your test scores. Test scores for this coming year. So students that are juniors right now that will be seniors next year, we are going test optional for fall 2021. I'm not sure what that means for scholarships yet, or if that will continue beyond fall 2021, but due to the pandemic, we are making that option for our students that will be applying next year. Your transcripts are the most important part of our application review because it tells us what kind of a student you are. We'll know what high school you're at. I travel to all the high schools. I know what your school profile looks like. So we're going to look at to see that you've taken honors, AP, IB courses, and that you've challenged yourself within the curriculum that your school offers you. We do recalculate GPAs based on a core academic program. So all of your math, science, social sciences, English, and world languages are what we will be looking at as part of your recalculation. Your test scores in a typical year, we do look at ACT or SAT. We don't care which test you take, but we do not super score. So we do encourage multiple attempts, and they do need to be sent, the scores do need to be sent to us directly. You'll note that we do not require letters of recommendation, but anything that you provide to us through your application, we will certainly read as well. But when it comes to your personal statement, this is something a lot of students start to, panic about. And a lot of you guys are juniors and going to be seniors next year. So think about something that's important to you. What you write about is not really important in your essay. You want to be authentic and true to yourself. So the why and the how part of your essay, the reflective piece, the critical thinking piece is much more important to us than what you write about. You could write the most amazing story and it could be a great, well-written essay, but if there's not that how and that why reflective piece that really shows us a glimpse of who you are, that's not very helpful to us. When a lot of people want to know what the numbers are. So we don't have minimum requirements, and most schools do not have a set of minimum requirements. When it all shakes out, once we get our 45,000 plus applications and we review them, the typical student who ends up being admitted to MSU falls between these numbers. These were the fall freshman class of 2019 numbers. The 25th percentile is the lower number you see there, and the 75th percentile is the higher number. So half of our students are coming in between these numbers that you see on the screen right there. And then MSU does have a pretty comprehensive scholarship structure. These are specific scholarships just for out-of-state students. So students that are coming to us from outside of Michigan, these are automatic. So wherever you fall on that chart, you're guaranteed that minimum amount merit-based scholarship each year for all 4 years. And then we have a whole lot of other scholarships that go beyond this chart. If you're up in the upper right-hand corner there, in that $15,000 range, you're also going to be competitive for our honors college. And if you're invited to our honors college, you will potentially get in-state tuition or full ride depending on what level you are. And you can compete in our alumni distinguished scholarship competition as well. These are our deadlines. Like everyone else so far, November 1st is going to be the date to shoot for. That's our early action non-binding deadline, as well as our deadline for maximum scholarship consideration. So make sure you're getting your app in prior to November 1st, so that way you'll hear back earlier, have a better chance of admission, as well as have the full consideration for all of our merit-based scholarships. And then down here on the screen, that's my contact information. That is my cell phone number as well. We do not, like Olander said, I like that, we do not track demonstrated interest, but I am happy to connect with you, text, or you can call. I'm happy to set up a Zoom chat as well if that's more your style. But yeah, thank you so much for being with us tonight, and I'll take any questions about MSU.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. And I am going to move to Antonio Serrano, who is here representing the Ohio State University. Antonio has worked in admissions for 15 years, and for the last 4 years has worked at the Ohio State University. He started at Misericordia in Pennsylvania, then moved on to Lynn University and Nova Southeastern University. In his work, he's worked with both traditional and non-traditional students and graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Music Performance from Ithaca College. Antonio mentioned to me that quarantine hasn't been too tough on him because he loves spending time working on his landscaping and enjoying his animals. And so with that, I'd like to have Antonio speak to us about the Ohio State University.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much. Nicole, thanks for including me in this presentation. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen as well. I'm also going to be sharing audio since I have a small video to share with you guys. So like Nicole said, my name is Antonio Serrano. I am the Florida Regional Recruiter for The Ohio State University. My territories include the state of Florida mostly, but I also do Puerto Rico. I'm based in Miami, Florida, but I travel throughout the state of Florida just reaching out to students, counselors, and families, and acting as a resource. So a lot of times people think of large institutions, they think they are a little bit impersonal, or they don't know who to reach out to. So we've made a concerted effort to make sure we have regional recruiters all across the nation to act as a resource. Recruiting students, yes, but recruiting the right students. It's not just about numbers. It's about finding the right fit for the institution and providing a resource to students so they know what those universities have to offer. So we'd like to start off by just giving you an idea of where The Ohio State University is located. We're located in the capital city of Ohio, Columbus. Columbus is the 14th largest city in the United States, and after Chicago, it's the second largest city in the Midwest. So it provides a great home for The Ohio State University. Columbus is the state capital, so it is the home of the seat of government. It's home to over 15 Fortune 500 companies, a lot of engineering companies, architectural companies, law firms, hospital systems. So it provides a great home base for a university. It's not a college town. This is a comprehensive city. So even when classes are not in session, the city is still very vibrant. It's very easy to get to, of course, from the Northeast and from the Midwest. And from Miami, it's about a 3-hour flight. And we have direct flights from Miami, Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, and Palm Beach. So pretty easy to get to from the state of Florida as well. So some of the benefits of having a Big Ten university in a capital city, it provides a traditional campus. So when you're on Ohio State's campus, you know you're at Ohio State. Our school colors are scarlet and gray, and so you'll see a lot of sweatshirts and gear for Ohio State. The city is economically thriving. It is the white collar city of the state. So it provides a built-in market for student internships, jobs, volunteering, and all that. It is also one of the nation's fastest growing cities. So students are definitely taking advantage of inexpensive housing, but a lot of great opportunities. We have world-class attractions, entertainment, very vibrant cultural scene. It's super affordable, accessible, and it always provides that Midwestern friendly spirit. So here's our video. This is a small video on Columbus, so you can get an idea of the city that we are located in.
A university is more than just classrooms. It's more than a campus. And sometimes it's more than you expected. Because your college years aren't just about experiencing college. They're about experiencing life. The Ohio State University is known for great professors, great programs, a great reputation, and a great city, Columbus. Home to Fortune 500 companies, the country's best research institutions, an incredible level of diversity, a food scene that has the country talking, one-of-a-kind neighborhoods, and an environment that makes it one of the best places to discover your potential, not just in the Midwest, but in the entire country. This is a city built on big ideas. It's open-minded, creative, and lots of fun. So choose wisely, because where you end up has a lot to do with where you begin. Sure, small college towns might be quaint, but quaint doesn't look good on a resume. So find yourself, where potential has been transforming into really big things for over 200 years. Don't just pick a university, pick a launching pad. Because your time in the classroom will make you smarter, but your time outside of it will make you, you. This is Columbus, and it's time to start the journey.
Great. So now that we had a little bit of snippet on Columbus, I also wanted to throw out an interesting fact there. Out of the Big Ten universities, Ohio State, the University of Maryland, and Rutgers, we all rank in the top 25 LGBTQ friendly campuses. And so it is a very open-minded, diverse city. And so we really welcome all types of students at Ohio State. So I found that to be a very refreshing fact about OSU when I started working with them. Here we have a picture of our campus. It is a very traditional campus feel. You'll see at the bottom of the picture is the world famous Ohio State Oval. Just up in the top left corner, you see the Horseshoe, which is the Ohio State Buckeyes home football stadium. And then also just below that, you'll see the Thompson Library, which is one of the largest libraries in the nation for university settings. But even though we're about 46,000 undergraduate students, with about 60,000 total enrollment at Ohio State, our campus is very walkable. So pretty much you crisscross that oval and you're able to get to all the different areas on campus. So from one end to the campus to the other, it's about 15 minutes walking. And then our downtown area, which you saw a little bit in the video, is about 10 minutes south of where we are. So students can really optimize the Ohio State bus system, the Columbus City bus system. Uber is very, very used in the city as well. There are lots of like rental bikes and applications that you can use for scooters to get around. So it's a very walkable, commuter-friendly city. You don't need to have a car there unless you're living off campus. And so kind of just a little glimpse of what we are here in Columbus. So just like our Big Ten institutions, Ohio State is an academic powerhouse. We have a really strong research-oriented faculty who provide meaning and purpose to the classroom. So a lot of times there's this misconception that if you have research faculty, they're more focused on research rather than teaching. And one of the things that I found out is that, that's not the case. The case is when you have faculty that are so involved in research, they're bringing the latest and freshest ideas to the classroom. Whereas, a faculty who might just be a tenured faculty, but not doing research or not really involved in their discipline any longer, may be a little bit out of date on what they're teaching the students. But also this research faculty is bringing the students into the profession as well, providing them with research opportunities. So you can start doing research at Ohio State as early as your freshman year, which a lot of our students will do that. All through the natural sciences, engineering, we have research in the mental health areas, research in business, agriculture. It goes on and on, the level of research we have. So we have over 200 majors across all fields. I will say the most competitive majors to get into at Ohio State is the College of Engineering and the Fisher College of Business. But at Ohio State, just as our peer institutions, we do not look at your application to the major. We do require our students to choose a major if they want to or come in undecided. But at the admission stage, where we're looking at the applications, we're not looking at the major. We're kind of looking at an overall fit and kind of like our holistic approach to the admissions process. If a student is applying to a more competitive major, there is an opportunity for them to be admitted to Ohio State, but not directly admitted into either the engineering or the Fisher College of Business. Some other majors like dance and music, those are also requiring an audition. So if a student is applying for any of those fine arts that are BFA or BM, they would have to go through an audition process, and then they would be kind of like held up on their admissions decision until they went through that audition process. all across campus. We're over 200 years old at Ohio State, but we have state-of-the-art technology, labs, and creative spaces all over campus. I'd say when you go to Ohio State's campus, you really get the sense that you're at a traditional college campus, but they've done an amazing job with integrating modern and old. So you get that traditional feel. So when you get some of our older alumni, they don't feel like they're coming to a brand new place, but the current students really feel like they have a state-of-the-art facility to come to. So I think that's a really great juxtaposition. You know, one side of the building might have ivy and be brick, while the other side, as you exit the building, is all glass and steel, which is kind of cool. So a big part of a student's experience is learning through experience. And so we really try to build in internship co-op opportunities into programs, creative expression, lots of leadership opportunities, service learning, an abundant amount of research, and just like our peer institutions on tonight, study abroad is huge. About 30% of our population do study abroad, with some of the top areas being France, the UK, Spain, China, and Korea. And so we do like to send our students abroad, but pretty much any continent a student wants to go to, being a part of that Big Ten Alliance, we can work with our peer institutions as well, and we will collaborate in different opportunities. So it's just an unlimited amount of opportunities being in the Big Ten. Some of the leadership things that we offer, sometimes that'll come with a scholarship. So for example, we have the Moral Scholarship, which is a full tuition scholarship for out-of-state students at Ohio State. We also have the Eminence Fellows Leadership Award, which is another full ride scholarship that also comes with a research stipend for really smart individuals who are able to get into that program. I'll talk a little bit more about that once we get to scholarships. So it's really, the biggest thing about Ohio State is finding your fit. And there's not one student experience that's the same for everybody. At Ohio State, we encourage students to really explore interdisciplinary, find out, you know, if you're a business student, take classes in the College of Arts and Sciences. If you're in the engineering school, maybe take some classes in business, and really trying to get a broad range of opportunities. So really finding your fit is really important. Division I sports, club sports, intramural sports. We have a Hillel group on campus, lots of religious organizations, political organizations. So there's something for everybody at Ohio State. We have a lot of support. We know that as a big institution, we need to make sure our students are successful. We have a 95% retention rate from first year freshmen to their second year, and that's partly due to our nationally ranked first year experience program. So during first year experience, students are really kind of given a little bit of hand holding, giving them just the tools that they need to be successful. And then during their second year, they're put into a program called their second year transformational experience program. We do require students to live on campus for those 2 years. So all freshmen and sophomore will be living on campus so that they are actively engaged with our faculty and staff to make sure that they're successful. Tons of programming on campus, over 1,500 student activities to choose from, lots of concerts and events and student organizations. So I want to go over now a little bit about what happens next. If you're interested in applying or having your students apply to Ohio State, some of the application requirements. So an application, a complete application, is the complete coalition or common applications. Those are the only two applications that we use. We do not have our own. Applications open on August 1st of the student's senior year. A complete application would include that application, high school transcripts, with 9th, 10th, and 11th year grades, official SAT or ACT test scores. We are not a test optional school, and with COVID, we are still not a test optional school. We'll talk a little bit more about the impact of COVID towards the end of this presentation, but as of right now, we do require an SAT or an ACT. At Ohio State, we do not superscore, so we are going to use the best test at any one sitting. And if you're an international student, we would require proof of English proficiency, and they can use the TOEFL for that, and they would need a 79 or better on that exam. So our class profile for the admitted class of 2019, you can see there 63% of the students that we admitted were in the top 10% of their graduating class. 95% of them were ranked in the top 25%. So that can kind of give you an idea of how we look at our applications and our students. So at Ohio State, being that we are a land grant institution, we are trying to be fair and equitable to all types of students all across the US and in the state of Ohio. So we want to have access and opportunity for students. So when we review applications, we don't recalculate GPAs. What we do is we use the high school profile really, really strongly as we navigate each application. So typically when we're reviewing an application, we'll have the student's application, their transcripts, their test scores, and the school profile. So we'll know exactly what that school offered, how many AP courses that school offered, was it an IB school, what are the number of APs they were allowed to take, what's the highest GPA in that class, and then how does that student compare with their GPA. So we're really looking for, that top 25% of each individual high school, which will then kind of take us to the test scores. And so the test scores are going to really range a lot, right? So if you're at an inner city, maybe a lower socioeconomic, a lot of first gen type of school, you might have a student who's in their top 10% of their graduating class, but they may not fall into our middle 50%. They would still have a big opportunity at Ohio State. And so that's something to keep in mind as you're working with your students. But our average SAT score is right around 1320 to 1440. Our average ACT 28 to 32. Now, I will say for merit-based scholarships, the minimum test score a student's going to want to have is a 29 ACT or a 1330 SAT, and they would want to be in the top 25% of their graduating class. So a little bit about our holistic review, and we're kind of told to give that holistic review kind of approach. But in a sense, it's really kind of GPA, class rigor, and test score driven, right? So if you have a 1600 SAT score and you're in the top 10% of your class, it's a little less holistic. You're going to get admitted. If you are a 900 SAT score and in the top 40% of your graduating class, again, it's a little less holistic. You're not going to be admitted with those types of scores. It's really that middle 50% where it starts to become really holistic. And that's when we really start diving into SAT, ACTs. We look at class performance, what's the rigor, what kind of leadership roles, co-curricular work experience. One of the big things that Ohio State really looks for is we're looking for that global citizen. So we're looking for students who are very socially aware. That could be through diversity initiatives, multicultural initiatives, social justice type of things. And so students who can demonstrate active roles in those kind of leadership roles have a really good shot at Ohio State. Some important dates that we like to consider, November 1st. All right, so really for my targeted population here in Florida and Puerto Rico, I don't even talk about our regular decision deadline, which is February 1st. I always push November 1st because November 1st is our deadline for early action, but it's also our scholarship merit-based deadline. So if we're going to be competitive with Bright Futures, Florida Prepay, we have a very comprehensive scholarship program up to full tuition for out of state, but they must meet that November 1st deadline. So applying early action is critical for my population here in Florida and Puerto Rico. It's also our deadline for the Honors and Scholars program, as well as the recommended deadline for the College of Engineering majors. A little side note for the College of Engineering, at Ohio State, students aren't admitted into a specific discipline like civil, mechanical, computer engineering. They're admitted into the College of Engineering, and that first year is a kind of foundational year where they will then, after their first year, decide which discipline they will be in. So they would be a College of Engineering student, but then declare their discipline after that freshman year, after working with engineering advising. Like I said before, February 1 is that deadline for regular decision. May 1st is our deadline to accept your offer from Ohio State, and we did not change that this year. We did offer a student to request an extension, but we kept it general for COVID as May 1st. We actually surpassed where we wanted to be. We were looking for a class similar to Michigan State of 8,500. We have about 9,600 paid acceptance fees right now. And so we do expect a little bit of melt over the summer due to the COVID issue. And so that's why we over-enrolled a little bit to strategically plan for our class of 8,500. And orientations this year due to COVID have all been pushed online, but we do have all intentions of starting classes August 20th of this year. But we are cautiously strategic and planning for all different scenarios. And so as the COVID pandemic unfolds, the university is planning on possibly doing online for the fall. If we did online, how would that affect tuition dollars and what the cost structure would be for our out-of-state population? What we're leaning to is that the students who are out of state, and if we go to an online structure, they would be given in-state tuition without that out-of-state surcharge. So that would be for the term that they would be online. Now, if they were granted a merit-based scholarship, they would lose that scholarship for the term that we would be online. Obviously, that would be more than the in-state tuition. So our scholarships are there to kind of give some differentiation with the out-of-state surcharge. So if we're removing the out-of-state surcharge, they would also lose that scholarship. Now, if they were eligible for our Moral Scholars Program, which is a competitive program they would apply for at the time of application, our Moral Scholars Program is a diversity, social justice themed scholarship. For students who want to apply for that, there is a question on the application to do so. If they are offered that scholarship, that does pay for full tuition. And so that would still be implemented for that online structure. But we just want to really kind of put it out there as well for students who are kind of contemplating, well, do I go out of state if it's going to be online? This is not forever. And most likely if one of us are online, all of us will be online. So really kind of follow along with the institutions that you're working with to find out how they're going to be handling it. You know, we don't want you to give up your whole dream of being a Buckeye for one semester that might be online, because if it's one semester we're offline, we're going to get back into the classroom eventually. And we would, you know, adjust tuition and things like that, but still want to give you that that Buckeye experience. As far as gap years, a lot of students, especially this year, are considering a gap year. I will say that Ohio State has included COVID-19 as a reason to request a gap year. A student would have had to pay their acceptance fee by that May 1st deadline, but if there is a reason why they would like to take a gap year, they could request to do so during the summer, but they would have had to pay their acceptance fee by May 1st. Now, a gap year is for a student to either work, do something educationally enriching, to do service learning, but it's not to attend another institution. So if a student does decide to take a gap year, that's not giving them, you know, the right to go to like a community college and do some classes there to have those credits transferred. That's not what gap year is geared for. So we are including COVID as an excuse, but it's not to do that. Just a little couple of things I wanted to throw in there in relation to the COVID response. There are tons of things that we're navigating every day due to this pandemic. And so definitely you wanna just click on our websites. For Ohio State, it's undergrad@osu.edu. And you'll see at the top of the screen COVID response. And so you can really track everything that's happening at each of our institutions as the pandemic unfolds. If you have any questions for me, I would be happy to Zoom with you. I would be happy to email with you, talk on the phone, whatever your preferred method is. My email is serrano.1032@osu.edu. The 614 number is my Skype number. And so you can reach out to me that way. If you want to Zoom, or if your students want to Zoom, I'd be happy to set that up. We have open houses virtually on our website. We are doing daily overviews virtually, and we have a really cool virtual tour of campus. And so I know it's not the same of being on campus and smelling, tasting, touching everything, but virtually at least you get a little bit of the glimpse of what the Ohio State Buckeyes, Buckeye Nation is all about. So thank you for having me again, and hope to hear from you guys soon.
Wow, thank you so very much. That was really helpful, especially that piece about if Ohio State and others, go online. Ohio State may be converting to in-state tuition. Okay, so that's because as a counselor, that's a question that comes up all the time. They have a particular school; it's their dream school. But like you said, maybe don't want to pay a full tuition if they're going to be at home, but still nevertheless want to be a Buckeye or another. I am going to open up the floor. I know we ran over a little bit, but I'm just so thankful that we had the actual source. We were able to get information from the actual source. Again, if each of the reps wants to provide their contact information, that way, if families want to get in touch with you directly, or students, feel free to do that. And I'm also going to share my screen one last time. Every family who has signed up, we're certainly open to an hour of a free consultation to go over these questions. If you have questions specifically for me, or I can relay these questions that are specific to an individual college. So let me see if I can do this. And I'm just gonna have, all right. And maybe if, Mary, if you could share your contact information first for anybody who has any questions.
Yes, I just put my email in the chat, and I believe that Jill also had listed on the slide, so I know you're recording that,
Okay.
but it's in the chat.
Perfect. Okay, if there are no other questions, then again, I want to thank you all for your time. I really appreciate you taking this time to share with students and families and even some counselors about the admissions process and at the Big Ten. So stay safe, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.